Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is a crazy one. Judging by the title, yeah, it's a wild one, and I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do. Let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place back in, I don't want to say senior year because I wasn't even a senior. I technically dropped out at this point, but it technically would have been my senior year if I was still in high school. So my class was a class of 2017, so this takes place back in 2017. And as you all know and are probably aware, there's this thing called the senior prank. You know, a lot of schools all over the world do it. You know, every year the seniors will get together and play a prank either on the school or on the principal. And, you know, usually it's harmless fun, but there's definitely instances online, if you look it up, where like people go a little bit too far. And I can successfully say that we went a little bit too far. Now you're probably wondering, like, Austin, what the hell do you mean you guys went too far? You weren't even a senior. You quit school. Well, I'll explain that as the story goes along, okay? So this all starts off as a regular day back in 2017. This was like any other day for me in 2017. At this point, I was just in grind mode. I was streaming, making videos, writing music behind the scenes, just like basically grinding every minute of every day, right? And because all my friends were still in school, I didn't really have a lot to do outside of just grinding YouTube and music and Twitch and stuff. So I was working on a video and I was about to stream just like any other day. And I kind of lost track of time and my phone started ringing and I looked down and it was like 2 p.m. And it was my friend Jake calling me. So I answered and I was like, "What's up, dude?" And he's like, "Yo, what are you up to today?" I was like, "Same shit, different day, dude. YouTube, Twitch, you already know." He's like, "Yeah, I figured. You trying to kick it later?" And I was like, "Yeah, what time?" He's like, 7, 8. I was like, "Isn't that a little bit late? Don't you got school tomorrow?" He's like, "Bro, it's Friday." I was like, "Oh, shit. Okay, I'm losing track of time. Yeah, bet." He's like, "Yeah, man, I'll come get you a 7 or 8. Is that cool?" I was like, "Sure." So he hangs up. I go back to doing my video. I stream a little bit, and then 7, 8 rolls around. I ended stream, got off stream, went upstairs, got ready really quick. Jake pulled in my driveway, went with him to his house for a little bit, met up with a bunch of other friends there that also went to my school. And while we were at Jake's house, we were all just hanging out in his basement, just playing some video games, listening to music, kicking it. And Jake brings up the senior prank because it was on Monday. He's like, "Yo, we got to figure out what we're doing for this prank. We have 3 things to choose from. Like, we got to figure out what it is." And I was like, "Oh shit, the senior prank's already happening?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, are you coming?" And I was like, "What do you mean am I coming?" He's like, "To the senior prank, like, you gonna prank the school with us?" And I was like, "Bro, I don't go to school anymore. I quit." He's like, "Yeah, but like you're still a student. Like they still have you on the attendance and shit. You haven't like officially quit yet. And the principal speaks highly of you and the teachers still like you." And I was like, "Wait a minute. What?" He's like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Wait a minute. What do you mean I'm still on the attendance? I stopped going to school like over a year ago." He's like, "Yeah, bro, they still call your name every morning in first period." I'm like, "Okay, well, I have to call them and figure that out. But second of all, what do you mean they speak highly of me? I quit school to play video games." He's like, "Bro, I'm telling you, they speak highly of you." And I'm like, "Okay, well, shit, if you want me to tag along, I'll tag along, but I don't think I'm going to get too involved. I'll just probably watch from the sidelines." He's like, "That's fine. They'll probably love to have you there." I'm like, "Okay, so what are you guys doing?" He's like, "All right, we have 3 options, all right? So option number 1, we're going to go into school and we're going to launch a bunch of confetti blasters in the hallway." Now, if you guys haven't seen those, they're just these like cylinders you can buy and they shoot confetti. Actually, there was just a viral video recently of Jeanette McCurdy launching one. I'm sure you've probably seen that. Those are like cool and fun, but I don't know. They didn't seem like that much of a prank to me. It's like you shoot a bunch of confetti in the hallway and then you clean it up in like 10 minutes. I don't know. It just didn't seem very cool. So I was like, I don't know. And he moves on to the next one. He's like, "All right, the next one is we'll take stink bombs and put them in the principal's office." I was like, "Okay, that one's pretty funny. Like, that's pretty good." He's like, "Yeah?" And all the other friends there were like, "Yeah, we should do that one." And then I was like, "What's the third one?" And Jake's like, "All right, this one's a little out there. We go to the principal's house at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and we ride our dirt bikes around his house, all in a circle, and be really loud and wake him up." Now, I forgot to mention this, but Jake rode dirt bikes. That was like his hobby. He always raced dirt bikes since he was a little kid. And another friend of ours there also raced with Jake. But the rest of our friends, including me, did not dirt bike. I'd maybe done it once or twice, and so had they, but like we didn't do it like they did. Like they were like semi-pros in my eyes, so I did not think I could live up to that expectation. And that idea of going there at 2 or 3 in the morning to the principal's house was a pretty bad one in my opinion. But everybody loved that idea over the rest of the pranks. I really wanted to do the stink bomb, but they didn't want to do that very much. They really wanted to do this dirt bike idea. And it was their senior prank, so I was like, "All right, but I probably won't ride a bike." And they were like, "Okay." So fast forward through the weekend, Sunday night, it was like 11, midnight. We were all still at Jake's house. We had spent pretty much the entire weekend over there. I didn't sleep there, but I kept going back there every day. But on this night, everyone was pretty much sleeping there because we had to wake up at 2 and then get up, go to the principal's house, and bring dirt bikes, set him up, and then ride around his house and wake him up. So at about like 1 in the morning, we started loading up the dirt bikes into Jake and his dad's truck. His dad was on board with this, which was crazy to me. I really thought that like he wouldn't want to do it. Also, our other friend, he brought his dirt bikes over, so we loaded them all up into 2 trucks. And I think in total it was 8 or 9 dirt bikes, which is crazy that they both own that many combined. And then we set off to the principal's house. Now, this principal that I had, I never really talked about him all much on this channel because he was the last one that I had before I quit school. And I didn't really have that many run-ins with him. Like, I didn't get in trouble a whole lot with him. Definitely a few times, but not as much as my previous principals. I've talked about them, but I switched schools a lot. I talked about that in the past. I've been to a lot of different high schools and kind of got switched around to different programs and stuff. But this guy, from what I've heard and from what I experienced, he was okay. He wasn't too strict, wasn't too mean, so I was expecting a pretty light response to this prank. So yeah, we were pretty excited. So we were all in the trucks. We got to the principal's neighborhood. We stopped just outside of his house. We didn't pull in the driveway because we didn't want to be too loud. We jump out of the trucks. We start unloading the dirt bikes, getting ready to pull this prank. And at this point, I was so excited that I was like, you know what? If there's still a bike open, I'll ride it with you guys. I'm not going to ride like crazy because you guys are better than me, but I'll try. And Jake's like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah, we have a bike, like here. And he points out the one that I'd be riding. It was a really easy one. It was a slow one. It wasn't some crazy like bike. And I was like, cool. So it was finally go time. I was excited. Now, I was under the impression that all we were doing was just getting on these dirt bikes, starting them up, riding in a circle around his house like 2 or 3 times until he wakes up, then wave to him when he looks out his window and sees us all there, and then leave. That was what I thought we were doing. But unfortunately, in our group of friends, there always had to be just that one dumbass that could not stick to the plan. And in this instance, it was Xavier. Xavier was a friend of mine from school, and he was a part of this whole prank. And Xavier was always the person in any situation that would take something 10 steps too far, right? Like you'd have a plan and he'd go against the plan and just take it too far. So when we got to the principal's house, we realized very quickly there wasn't any lights outside of the house. He didn't have motion lights, didn't have lights on the side of the house or in the back where the porch was. And maybe he did, but they just weren't turning on or something, or they were broken. But there was no lighting. We could not get them to turn on. We walked around the house a couple times. Nothing was turning on. But we noticed something. Our principal had a pretty big fire pit in his backyard that was lit currently. He must have been having a bonfire before bed or something, and there was still a flame going. So there was some light there. And we thought, okay, let's just put some firewood on the fire, get some more light back there, and then we'll ride the dirt bikes around the fire pit so he can see us out of his back window, and it'll be bright enough to see us, and it'll still wake him up, and the prank will still be great. And honestly, it'll look even cooler to have us riding around a fire than to be riding around the house, you know? So that was the new plan. And Xavier goes over and he grabs some firewood and he puts it on the fire. And it's not quite getting bigger. Like I think the firewood was wet or something, or like it was just taking a while to catch. And Xavier's getting really impatient. And he's like whispering, he's like, dude, this is taking too fucking long. Like, does he have gas or something in the shed? Can we go check? And we're all like, bro, no, come on, just chill. Like, give it a sec, we'll be fine. And we wait like a couple more minutes and it's still not really doing anything. And we're all like just being patient and Xavier is freaking out. He's like, dude, that's it. I'm going to look in the shed. I want to see if there's lighter fluid or gas. And we're like, bro, chill. He's like, nah, man. And he walks away and he goes in the shed, opens it up, finds some lighter fluid, comes back, and he's like, all right, move out of the way. I'm doing this. And we're all just like, fuck me, dude. So we back up. Xavier pops the top off this lighter fluid and he goes to squirt it onto the fire. And I guess he either squirted it a little too hard or he was not prepared for how fast and crazy this would come out of the bottle. But that shit shot a lot out. And when it hit the fire, the whole fire raised up like a good 5 or 6 feet. And all of us kind of like jumped back a little bit. Because we're like, what the fuck? But Xavier's dumbass jumped back while still squirting the bottle. So this trail of flame basically followed him as he fell backwards because he was squirting the fluid all over the ground and the grass and onto his legs. So he set his fucking leg on fire. Not bad, it was a little flame, but the grass was on fire too. And he starts running and smacking his thigh and leg, trying to put the fire out. But this dumbass doesn't drop the bottle while doing it. So he's running, creating a trail of lighter fluid and just igniting this giant line of grass. and he's running towards his house, the principal's house. So I start yelling. I'm like, put the cap on, put the cap on. It's leaking, put it on. And everyone's like, yeah, dude, come on, put it on, put it on. And we're trying to let him know, like, dude, put the fucking cap on, because if you don't, you're going to create a big problem, a bigger problem than we already have that you've created. And he doesn't hear us. He's just too busy trying to smack his leg. And finally, he gets his leg out, and he's good. And then he realizes what he's done, and there's a huge line of flame following him. And he shuts the cap on the bottle and throws the bottle in the other direction, like 20 feet. But at this point, the trail of flame was leading right up to the garage. It was not a super tall, like, trail of flame, but it was enough to touch the house. And Xavier's trying to stomp it out, but because it's lighter fluid, it's not the easiest thing to, stomp. It just keeps reigniting, and unlucky us, the flame lights the garage on fire. It was just barely touching it, but unfortunately, the principal's garage was pretty flammable because it lit on fire. Now, when I say it lit on fire, it's not like the whole thing went up in flames in 5 seconds. It was just the side paneling of the garage in a certain little spot. But it was enough to be concerned, and it was enough to be like, all right, we have to fix this right fucking now, because if we don't, the whole thing will catch on fire. So me, Xavier, Jake, all of our friends, we run up to this garage, and we start kicking it with our feet to try and put it out. And it's not working. So I take off my shirt, and I start whipping it with my shirt. And thankfully, it worked. It put the fire out. But there was consequences. There was now a giant black line/burn mark on the side of my principal's garage. And perfect timing, we see the front lights come on, and my principal walks outside into his driveway, looks at all of us and goes, "What the hell are you guys doing?" And we all just go silent. And he walks over and he can see the big black mark on his garage, and then he sees the line of fire following it to the fire pit. And he goes, "Are you guys setting my house on fire? Like, what the hell?" And we're like, no. And Jake starts explaining. He's like, "We were trying to do this prank and like ride dirt bikes around and wake you up, and then we were going to leave, and it was going to be harmless. But Xavier's dumbass put lighter fluid on the fire, and then it followed him because he ran away with it in his hand, and then he set the garage on fire, and now we tried to put it out, and it is out, but this is just the aftermath. I'm so sorry, sir." And the principal like throws his arms up, and he's like, "I got to call 911. So he goes. He has to call 911, get the fire department down there because there was a fire, technically, and he had to make a report, and it was just not good. It was not good at all. Once the cops got there, Jake's dad got out of the truck, because this whole time, Jake's dad was in the truck, in the front, in the street, so he didn't see anything happen. And he comes over, and he's like, "What the hell happened?" And we had to explain to his dad, like, "Yeah, Xavier didn't stick to the plan and accidentally lit the garage on fire." And he's like, "Xavier, what the hell, dude?" And Xavier's like, "I'm sorry, I want to get the fire more lit so he could see us." And Jake's dad's like, "I don't give a fuck. You don't put gas on a live flame. That's stupid." And Xavier's like, "It wasn't gas, it was lighter fluid. I said that." And Jake's dad's like, "I don't care, same shit. Don't do that anymore." Now, the story doesn't end there, okay? So it gets a little bit worse. So after, like, the cops and the fire department got there, we spoke to them for a little bit. Nobody actually got in trouble, which is crazy, because the dude didn't press charges, the principal. But he needed to, like, make a report, I'm assuming, for, like, insurance reasons. I don't know. I think he had to. But after the cops and the fire department left, the principal told us to not come into school the next day and to stay home because we were suspended. He questioned me. He was like, "Why are you even here? Like, you're not even a senior." And I was like, "I know. I said the same thing." And he was like, "All right, go home." So I got kind of kicked out of there. I left. I don't know what happened after that. But the next day, something else happened. So the next day, or I guess the same day technically, because it was really, really early Monday morning when this happened, the principal got on the announcements first thing in the morning at school, and he announced to the entire senior class and the entire school that the senior prank is now banned from our school. So moving forward, they could never do a senior prank again because, everyone went too far, essentially. And that kind of sucked because this, senior prank was only, 10 people of the senior class, and the senior class was a lot bigger than that. There was hundreds of kids at this school. So, they all got to miss out, essentially, and get in trouble for something that they didn't even do. 10 people ruined it for the rest of the seniors. So, yeah, that definitely sucked. But I didn't really get too affected by this. It was mainly just, Jake and all them that got in trouble. They got suspended for, 2 or 3 days. But honestly, in the end, they could have gotten in a lot more trouble. That dude could have pressed charges for, arson, I'm assuming. And it could have been way worse. But there is a moral to this story. Don't do that, first of all. Never do anything related to this when it comes to a senior prank. Just don't do this at all. But also, don't be like Xavier, okay? Don't be running around putting lighter fluid on a live fire like it's a toy, okay? Because, yeah, Xavier's an idiot. Bro literally lit his pants on fire. So, yeah. He's fine, by the way. He didn't get, like, injured seriously. He was fine. He, like, put it out pretty quick, so he's good. But, yeah, that's it, guys. Pretty crazy one. The story of how my principal's house got set on fire by the seniors, and I got to witness it. Didn't even get to ride the dirt bike, either. None of us got to do that. I was really excited for that. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
I be in LA.